We set up Pop-Up U to let you know that the educational experience is everywhere.
Yep. At Pop-Up U, classroom is always in section.
We're in Jersey City right now. We're about to go to the hottest barbershop, Etiquette Life. Let's go set up a Pop-Up U.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Yo, let me tell y'all the disrespect. My man, we were talking about how when you step on somebody's J's, people get high school mad.
Vans don't count.
Immediately after he steps on my Vans, it does not apologize. He just kept it like he's
in the sneaker game, Vans don't count.
So here's what we're gonna do. Let's go beyond the Vans.
Is it because they're not innovating?
I mean, they're a good sneaker. It's just not.
So let's talk about innovation. You want to say something about innovation?
Right. So in education, one of the things that we really need to talk about is, are you innovating or are you not? Right? Are you taking the steps to advance the educational experience?
What happens if you're not?
If you're not, you're gonna get left.
Like certain colleges, if they don't innovate and change, they're gonna become blockbuster. Netflix is coming whether you like it or not. You got online courses, you've got lynda.com, Udemy, Masterclass. People are finding different ways to get the information to learn, and the education is everywhere. It's kind of the premise of the show. We still want colleges to be relevant. Listen, I love the school I went to, Binghamton University. I got my degree there.
Shout out to Binghamton.
Hey, shout out to state universities.
I hear you.
For some people, the debt, it's a huge financial investment, and I think colleges need to remind people why that investment is worth it. What up, bro?
What up, baby?
Good to see you, man. Hey,
Jeff, what up, man?
Back, man.
You already know.
Oh, I see the jeans. Jeans are fresh, bro. Hey, get it. Good,
Ready,
man. Let's
man.
get fresh, bro.
You gotta get birth fresh, man.
Yeah. They was clowning on my Vans. They was clowning on my. They was clowning on the Muhammad Ali box situation. You know what I'm saying? They was clowning. I put juices and berries. That's what I do. Juices and berries. No, I'm so excited for our first guests, Devin Large and Josh Large. They've had their own experiences with college, but they're super innovative. I mean, their whole company doing everything different, Curio Media. As you guys know, they work with Nike, they work with Trey Songz, they work with Rick Ross. They've done hats, Gary Vee, they've done hats for Kevin Durant. The stuff that they do with celebrities is because they were able to break beyond the mold. We're gonna find out how they do it. This is gonna be classes about to be in session. Like we said, education is everywhere.
You already know.
Hey, there we go.
Dad, what up, baby? Good to see you, man. Josh, what up, baby?
What up?
You already know.
Thank you for handling that.
What up, G?
What up?
You good?
How's the flight?
Good? Yeah, that's what's up, man.
See, Bird about to get the cut, man.
Yeah. Josh, you good, man. I took time picking this spot. Josh look over there nervous in his seat, bro. I don't know what's happening, boy, but
You look good.
Bert, don't do me wrong, Bert. How did authenticity play a role in you guys getting the Nike deal? Because I know at one point you were emailing somebody for like a year.
Yeah. Well, no, that was with Tesla.
Oh, that was with Tesla?
So when we got Tesla, we were emailing Tesla for 3 years straight.
Wow.
And no response. And our shop was like literally right across the street from their plant. One day we sent another email, and I don't never check my spam, right? Never check my spam folder. And I was going to empty my spam, and I seen a Tesla email, and I was like almost pressed empty. It was like 3 days old, and it was like, yo, I see you guys are right across the street. I would love to talk to you. You know, we have a vendor right now, but I would just love to open up the conversation.
Wow.
And I like instantly hit him back. I was like, yo, sorry, it went to my spam. I sent him a screenshot so he could see like, yo, I wasn't playing.
Yeah.
And we set up the meeting, and that's kind of how we started the relationship.
I never check my spam folder.
I usually don't either. And
Wow.
somehow it told me to do that. And so I sent them an email, and we set up a meeting, and I went in there and I met with him.
Just like that?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I probably had, I was just like this. Exactly. No, exactly like this, right? And so, and I went in there and I was just like vibing with him. It wasn't even it was all about establishing a relationship.
Right.
Because as soon as you start asking for stuff, especially right off the jump, it's like, that don't work. You know what I mean?
Well, that's
like effective communication, right?
Right.
So I'm gonna jump. Go ahead.
Right, that's a leadership lesson right there, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes we forget how important it is to be authentic in our conversation and the way that we communicate.
Right.
So number one, the emails, right? So that's another thing, the perseverance to say, listen, I'm gonna send emails for 3 years.
Patience.
And patience,
Yeah,
right?
patience.
And recognize to
But
be.
I tell you what though,
Yeah.
if he was emailing a girl for 3 years, that'd be called thirsty.
Oh, man. Yo, so
But in business, it's called patience.
right, it
Talk when
is.
they start to get a
See that?
hairline.
You see that? He changed it up. He changed it up. He changed it up.
He get his confidence back.
So that's what you said. So number one is effective communication,
Right.
perseverance and patience, and then the authenticity. Going into the meeting, and I think that's another thing sometimes we forget, is to be confident in the value that you bring to the table.
That makes you, build you towards having a good relationship.
Well, I mean, relationships are everything.
Yeah.
Like it's gotten us here. It's gotten us to work with some of the biggest companies and celebrities in the world. And so by going in there and just vibing with them, we do a lot of work in the community, work with students and stuff like that.
Right.
Just trying to help push the next generation and teach this mindset development and stuff like that. And so they really like that about it. You know what I mean? About the aspect of what our company represented.
What up, y'all? We out here at Youth Uprising in Oakland, getting ready to do an activation with the Warriors and Nike. We got a truck coming out. We did all the gear, debut of the town jersey. We got the squad here. It's gonna be a fun day.
I want to bring the conversation back to authenticity, and this is a real question. I've seen you speak at colleges, like you speak all across the country, and I've seen you encourage kids about staying in school. Even though you're successful, school was a place that you went to, and at one point you left.
Well, I mean, it's not for everybody, right? Like, for me, I went through public school, and it was like a system that was set up for me to fail. Like, it wasn't made for me. Like, I learned different. I needed to touch things, and I learned by trying things. And it's like, I can't sit in the class and listen to you talk to me all the time. I need to do something.
That's exactly what happened to me. I mean, I started off going to college. Right after I graduated high school, my parents wanted me to take, I was like, the one that was supposed to go to school and graduate. And, they wanted me to get a 9-to-5 job. They wanted me to work at Chipotle or 24 Hour Fitness. And I was going part-time. And, it was cool, but it just wasn't where my focus was at.
I never was a good student throughout, like, I almost didn't graduate high school and all that stuff. But I went to school,
How long did you go to college?
I mean, like a semester, but it was a screen printing class. And it was in 2008 when Obama was running.
Yeah.
And so, like, I learned how to screen print in class, and we were picking up business outside of class and printing the Obama t-shirts in class. And the teacher was like, yo, I can get fired because you're making money. And I'm like, and I had to, like, pay her off. Well, we was broke, so we had no money, so we had to, like, give her shirts. And, like, all the students was in there like, why do they get to do that? I'm like, bro, y'all need to stop hating.
Right.
We got an order after school was over, but we didn't have no money for no equipment or anything like that.
Yeah.
So we had to get resourceful. So we went to Home Depot and got like some wood and clamps and built a one-color, one-station press to fulfill the order. And we lit a fireplace and laid the shirts in front of the fireplace to let it dry the ink.
Wow.
And so that's what I'm talking about as far as like entrepreneurship.
Over the summer, I had interned for my brother, and I learned so much. I learned way more working with him in 2 months than I learned at spending a whole semester in college.
Right.
And I had to make a decision. Am I gonna in turn like kind of disappoint my parents by going on a route that I feel like is the best for all of us?
Right.
But I had to sacrifice time, energy, money. My parents were like, you don't have to pay for your own stuff now. They were paying for my gas at first.
Wow.
Now, everything
Cut
comes
that
out of
off.
pocket.
And you know what's really important about that is that some people think like I'm gonna quit college and do what I want to do, and that's gonna be it, right? But nah, you put in that work, that effort, that sacrifice. Like that's the thing that you need to do. I always tell people if you're gonna make that effort, then you gotta put it all in.
My college experience was a little bit different. Coming out of high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do, and I knew I liked to make money, so I worked, and I got myself involved in the workforce. And barbering was something I did as a little kid, but at that point I never thought it would be a career move. It was in 2008 when I was in motorcycle sales, and the recession hit us bad. We're in a luxury business, so I couldn't sell motorcycles. Like people were scared to spend the money, banks weren't giving loans, and I had to touch back on like, well, what is the common denominator? Something I've always done my entire life, and how can I propel, that basic talent into a career? And it was that point I started thinking to myself, like, you know what? I'm gonna start owning barbershops. And I was fortunate that my county college at the time offered a course, small business management and entrepreneurial studies.
So you had an idea, a vision, and where you were going, and that's why. That's
right.
what. Yeah.
And that's what brought me back into school. Now I was always a terrible student in high school. I was bad. Like,
Common thread.
You know, but when I put myself back, knowing what the vision was and the reason I was there, I got a 4.0 GPA, my dude.
I think what would have helped Devin and myself stay in college was feeling like we're making a difference in the real world by doing what we're doing, right? I think a big reason of why Devin thrived in the class that he took was because he was making real money. He was making a name for himself while also going to class. So he was applying his education to his real life, right? But when you go to college and you study stuff, especially like electives that have nothing to do with your major, it kind of is defeating, you know what I mean? It's redundant. It's like, will I ever really need to use this practically? And is this ever, you know, am I ever gonna take this information and knowledge and change my life or anybody else's life with it?
Because you know what happens really quickly is that there are resources, right? So that's ultimately a lot of what we survive upon is how many resources do we have? Where can we get the resources? So somebody like Devin, in his case, didn't have the initial resource of the press. Right, but the school had it. So we have to find these institutions and push these institutions into saying, we need you to create more resources that are gonna have somebody like him who wants to create his business, who wants to be an entrepreneur, that he can survive. But we also wanna make sure that those students who are interested in the world of academia and things like that, they need to have their space too.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
they just can't be the only voice that exists. We need to have a voice for those other people who wanna be great leaders, who wanna lead, who wanna be musicians, who want to be entrepreneurs. And now when you forge these two areas, that's what we have to do. So when we say, you know, that's why we go back to Pop-Up U, right? So Pop-Up U is
We
about
in class
saying
right now.
we in class right now, right? We're learning things right now. Now this is something that we, you know, institutions should be having these conversations.
And you only see that typically when somebody's going to school for being a nurse or a doctor.
Right.
And outside of those fields, you don't see schools provide that outside service or those resources to have a student be able to succeed in the things that they enjoy.
You know, I always define myself by like my last haircut, you know, so I'm constantly working at improving myself. I feel like by me doing that, I feel like people see that, you know, like we go touch back on authenticity, you know, like I can't fake a great haircut, and that's allowed me to cut celebrities like Dave Letterman and Mark Stoudemire and Ruby Rose. You know, I love to take an intangible impulse of thought and then like create it into something that I could physically see, touch, sell.
And this is a barber, folks.
That's an educator. That's an educator. Appreciate you, Jeff, man.
Thank you guys.
Educator.
That's right, man. It's a barber and an educator.
Class in session, man. Pop-Up U. We just had a pop-up in a barbershop. Yo, thanks for the cup, man. This looks smooth.
Life.
This is smooth.
That's the real line again.
Jalen Brown to Stephen A.
Wow.
Is that a compliment?
Wow. Why everybody coming for me this episode?
Hey, you look great.